All right, greetings, my fellow stream lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is L3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date, Friday, May 27th, 2016. Yeah, it looks like I hit the effects button again by accident, but looks like it never went to the signal. So sorry about that, little distraction. Well, it's this Memorial Day weekend. Whole families out there are going to be paying their respects to the fallen one and criticize, protest against the empire, the corporate wars, banksters war. That's what we need to really focus on. Those sons of bitches, and excuse my language, wants to use all of our fellow brothers and sisters out in the battlefields for their own personal gain. It's not just the United States, but the world. So always examine and observe. The more you know, the more you comprehend, the more you get ticked off and take action. That's why I've been doing this for a good period of time, and I thank everyone for listening and sharing this show wherever you're at. I really greatly appreciate it. This is why I hear about the Urban Fest happening down in Miami Beach. I'm just wondering if they're going to be paying their respects as well to the fallen ones and so forth. So it's partying their butts off like everywhere else. I was going to go party, 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 but don't really know the main objective about this holiday. So I always look at all angles, all sides. And to the ones that are not around, you have my eternal homage on what your views are. Has to be honorable, principled, not by lust or greed, like the empire, imperialism, and of course, the New World Order or one world order, doesn't matter. That's like my little rant on that area. So, just a few things I have to say. And if you're not down, if you're anywhere in the South Florida area, I recommend you go down Sunday at the Villain Theater because they're going to be doing a 9/11 presentation. Richard Gage from Architects and Engineer for 9/11 Truth and Eric Lawyer is going to be down there as well, who represents firefighters for 9/11 Truth and Unity. Be a $10 donation, and at the Villain Theater, if I'm correct, it's 8350 Northeast 2nd Avenue. It's like near El Porto area. So, like in Miami. Be definitely $10 donation. Looks like a bunch of people are planning to attend. And if you can make it, that'd be great. More the merrier. Bring your family, your friends, even recommend it to your enemies. It doesn't matter. Everyone has the right to know what really happened on 9/11 because I've been saying this for a good period of time, even on my show, and to everyone out there for the past 14 years. What happened on a horrific event is a monumental lie. This always puts the fire in my belly. I get inspired at the same time. And some great people out there, beautiful people I chat with, they are listening and taking the initiative on doing their homework and sharing the information with everyone else, including myself, which is awesome. I thank those for making that happen too. Yeah, so I was listening to a show last night. Actually, I actually heard the podcast and here it was a title, unfortunately, but it's from Resurrected Republic by Thomas Stewart. I think his name is LaCarvia Stewart. The show's based out of Philadelphia, and I'm going to be talking about this too because it is a declaration of war, as far as I'm concerned, to the American people or to the state of New York. And it says here, gun confiscation, New York, unsafe act trial. Court reporter hears Roaring laughter from jury moments before guilty verdict. The war is on. And Laurie Anderson did an interview with with Mr. Stewart, and of course Eric Hugh Jones is there as well. This is from the website courtroomobservers.com. As it reads, this is from Laurie Anderson, co-host of the Rhetoric Republic. Okay, Eric was in the Ontario County Courthouse today, which was a couple of days ago, yesterday, when the jury was laughing hysterically before coming out with a guilty verdict. New York SAFE Act wording is almost identical as the UN STAT, or SATT. About 2 legislators responsible for the New York SAFE Act are currently in prison for corruption, extortion, and abuse of office. The only thing that Shane didn't do that made him unable to have a weapon via New York SAFE Act was filing a sheet of paper to gain permission from New York. Hear this? Permission. According to lead founder Courtroom Observers, Eric Hughes Jones, who is currently in the Ontario County, New York courthouse for the Shane Bennett gun confiscation case, the jury has come back with their verdicts. Eric described the scene as follows. I have never in my life seen such a blatant disregard for due process of law. It seems as they found it amusing and funny to rip this family apart, even though the only thing that Shane was guilty of was not filing paperwork. While the jury was in deliberation room, they could be heard laughing hysterically in the courtroom as as in the halls of the courthouse as if they were at a party. The laughter was not sporadic or spontaneous. It was prolonged, intense, and extremely vocal. While the jurors walked out of the jury room to return into the courtroom, some had to straighten their faces to try to hide their laughter, Eric explained. The court raised Mr. Bennett's bail from $500,000 to $200,000 cash. Although Mr. Bennett has showed up all the court appearances, it is clearly not a flight risk. Now, the deputies, which were armed with assault weapons according to the New York SAFE Act, took Shane Bennett into custody and out of the courtroom. Eric Hughes Jones witnessed Mr. Bennett's attorney smiling and shaking his hands with the judge, as well as the prosecuting attorney, Michael Tantillo. The message sent today from the laughing jury was that all the gun owners of New York that refused to register ask for permission from the state to have their self-defense weapons are now all considered to be felons, but thus they are not subject to the same unlawful illegal treatment. The laughing jury has now made it acceptable for police to break into your home, steal your property, destroy your home, physically abuse your children, assault your wife and family members, all without a lawful warrant or witness against you. The justification was a confidential informant which was never produced, thus hearsay is all these juries needed to convict an innocent man. Even though the New York Statutory Bill of Rights states NYSE Civ RTS Section 4, the well-regulated militia being necessary to secure of a free state, the right of the people and keep and bear arms cannot be infringed. Had the jury actually filed the New York statutes, they would have to find him out, found him not guilty. There's a link for that, by the way. It's official. To hear the gun confiscation has begun. To hear more about the Bennett trial, join Eric Hughes, John Jones, Laurie Anderson from Freedom Outpost, and Tom Carver Stewart to hear about unlawfulness that has run rampant in this case. Please tune into Resurrect the Republic, Dirty Uncle Sam radio show on RBN tonight, 10 p.m. to midnight, and there's a phone number and all that, and there's links for this information on the SAFE Act. And what's interesting about this, Mr. Sheldon Silvers, was arrested for corrupt charges. He's in jail for 12 years. So, and I have talked about that last time, a while back, on that Gino piece of garbage, Sheldon Silver. The way he looks, he has palm-olive hands. I probably got some bent over to get his job, maybe on his knees, allegedly speaking. He was one of the men that was responsible for creating the New York SAFE Act, the unSafe Act we call it. heard the interviews and the links on there to hear the episode, so I'm definitely going to post it on there. And one thing Mr. Seward said was spot on. All those individuals that were involved in this trial, the jury, both the attorneys and the judge, they are your enemies. They make Benedict Arnold a solid patriot. They believe they're above everybody. They're nothing more than pieces of garbage, and what do you do to it? You take it out. They should be hunted down like pigs, get them in due process, and execute it justifiably. All through due process, to be exact. Or, what Ben Franklin would say, tar and feather them. With all these little tough guys with the little pencil neck goodies and go, well, I'm a lawyer, I know better than you. Don't know a damn thing. I'll guarantee you one thing for sure. Blowback will happen in the Empire State. And the people in that particular jurisdiction have the right to be ready for these ungrateful scumbags. And I say that politely. And anyone else that supports this are in that same bracket. Enemies of a free nation, a sovereign nation. Even Cuomo himself, the little glam boy greeter that he is, looks like he goes, "Yeah, I got this position because my daddy was governor." A bunch of chumps, like father, like son. You don't know who you're tangling with, and I guarantee you, it will backfire. To all those people in New York, I recommend you check out the Battle of Athens, Tennessee. How corruption led to blowback, and the people won. Happened around August 1st and 2nd of 1946. Basically, it's bound vote fraud. However, it was a corrupt government. And it really gets me with these vultures, these ingrates, these Uncle Toms and Aunt Jemimas of this tyrannical system. Probably can't even lead a pack of rats to the nearest dump site. In addition, Article 1, Section 1 of the New York Constitution, Bill of Rights, says here, no member of this state shall be disenfranchised or deprived of any of the rights or privileges secured to any citizen thereof, unless by the law of the land or the judgment of his or her peers, except the legislator may provide that there should be no primary election nominated for the public office, to party positions or any political parties and all that good stuff, all right? But the whole thing is, your rights should never be infringed. Of course, here, I'm looking here, Section 6, protection of certain enumerated rights. Yep, it's in here, and I'm looking. Paragraph 2, sentence 2. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process. So, Article 1, Section 6 on that enumerated rights. And here's the kicker. It is a victimless crime law. And those pieces of trash think it's okay. Yep. To those individuals that are mentioned, on here, The man who represented Mr. Shane Bennett, prosecuting attorney Michael Tantillo, and that piece of crap judge are the enemies of your state and of our nation. I'm not afraid to call you scumbags out. And people up in New York don't like it. Too bad. Bring it. If you come down to Florida and try to say this is how we do it in New York, you get the hell out. I don't need your contaminating, manipulating, toxic waste in my state. So it reminds me of a certain victimless crime case that happened way back. A gentleman named Lavo Wheeler in Maryland. It happened in July 1st, 2002. The police axed the door down in his home. His wife was a great grandmother, by the way. Sealed warrant, sealed, not open but sealed. Shackled her, took the computers, took the money, and looking for Mr. Wheeler. What happened was they found firearms, handmade firearms, and gunpowder, which is in the proper containments. They arrested him at his job, and the judge gave him a bail of $2 million for 2 misdemeanor counts. Even though I'm not saying Lava Wheeler, because I learned this from that website, now defunct, organization called National Alliance. Learned it from them. And don't get me wrong, I'm not agreeing with on their views, but something like that is dead wrong. This is what I'm seeing. Lava Wheeler revisited in the state of New York. And I don't know what the people in New York are going to do something about it. As far as I'm concerned, you need to go in there and just lynch all those bastards in due process in Ontario courthouse, including the jurors. That's why I'm always observant. I pay attention, and I'm a vigilant SOB when it comes to freedom, when it comes to my natural born rights. Civil rights, I don't count on. My rights are natural born. And I dare anyone out there to refute that with me. Even to that state people that live in New York, their Uncle Toms and Aunt Mamas to that particular system. I dare you. You can email me. You can contact me. See if you've got the guts to do that. Whatever you do, make it authentic as possible. But definitely check out the interview. It's very powerful. I'd like to thank Mr. Stewart and Miss Anderson and Mr. Jones for putting this out there because everyone has a right to know. And I did post it on my Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus account. So Stewart liked it. He retweeted it again. So folks, everyone out there gotta know what's going on, and everyone else around those states gotta tell them to stick it. That's why I support the 10th Amendment Center's document, which is called the Second Amendment Preservation Act. We try to do that in Florida, but people start complaining. But I tell them up theirs too. I call all those bastards out. We need to get revised and do it again. And I believe that's going to happen because right now, one thing I noticed, Missouri became the latest state to have open and concealed carry without a permit. But things are happening too. Some great things, but something like this, no other state in this country needs to implement it. You use it as toilet paper, wipe your butt on it, and flush it down the toilet. And anyone in that legislation in your state support something like this, you should just fling their behinds out through the window into the dumpster with all their assets. Because remember, they're your servants, never your masters. It doesn't matter if they have a law degree or not. I could care less. I laugh. Well, I'm a lawyer. I tell them you suck at it. Enough said. I know I've digressed. Apologize for that. Gotta get this off my chest, my friends. Next one here came from, actually came in today by academia.org. Actually, media put this out. It's called Black Lives Matters LGBTQ Agenda. Author is Alex Nitzberg. And it says here, while the media covered Black Lives Matter complaints of racism and police brutality, they largely underreport the movement's campaigns to normalize all permutations of sexual pro-civility. Civility. The guiding principles on BlackLivesMatter.com clearly delineate the group's pro-LGBTQ agenda. Black Lives Matter is a radical social intervention, their websites proclaim. Black Lives Matter is queer affirming. When we gather, we do so with the intention of freeing ourselves from the tight grip of heteronormative thinking, or rather, the belief that all in the world are heterosexuals unless he or she or they disclose otherwise. Another principle defines the group as transgender affirming. We are committed to doing the work required to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift black trans folks. A Facebook advertisement for Black Lives Matter hashtag say her name National Day of Action explains, on this day we are standing in the solidarity with all black women, cis and trans, girls and femmes in efforts to shed light on the abuse that they endure the systems of anti-black misogyny. However, Black Lives Matter does not simply affirm sexual deviancy, it actively strives to instigate a cultural revolution to redefine the family. We are committed to disrupting the Western prescribed nuclear family structure required by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another, and especially our children, and I agree that our mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. So they're going to say that we want to have you think like us. I will proceed. In addition to harboring an apparent distaste for the family, feminism also pervades the Black Lives Matter movement with terms including patriarchy and heteropatriarchy appearing on this site. One article described the three founders of Black Lives Matter, Alicia Garza, Apol Tometi, and Patrice Cullors, by stating that all are U.S.-based black feminists are seasoned organizers. Cullors and Garza identified as queers. Terms on BlackLivesMatter.com, like same, gender loving, and gender spectrum, reveal the design of your own gender mentality propagate by this movement. Black Lives Matter asserts that just is not only about ending anti-black racism. Visions of true justice must include freedom for black people who are queer, transgender, formerly or presently incarcerated, undocumented, or facing any other number of challenges. For Americans already possess the right to live a transgender or queer lifestyle. So what additional freedom does justice require? While freedom in Black Lives Matter's conception could mean many things, it almost certainly entails forcing all Americans to surrender their rights in order to accommodate the LGBT group TQ community. The Obama Justice Department has already threatened to withhold government funding from schools that refuse to let transgender students use a bathroom and locker room that matches their assumed gender identity. Hooray! Hooray for centralized government! Hooray! Hooray! Karl Marx would be proud. As the left works to restructure society through a cultural revolution, Black Lives Matter openly broadcasts its radical LGBTQ agenda. The fact that so many individuals remain ignorant of this facet of the Black Lives Matter movement reflects the media's failure to fully inform the public. Interesting here, when they have these hidden agendas and all this good stuff, and you're talking to a man like myself, who believes in rights of individuals, period. I don't need any legislation. I don't need people telling me who I could bring into my house or to my facility by any means. Even as a union stage hand, we have those things like sexual orientation and so forth. It's in our contracts. We don't need the government to tell us to tell us how things should be done. People can do it themselves. One thing too about the Black Lives Matter group, they are corporately funded, and you can look up Black Lives Matters corporate funded. I think actually media has something like that, and the site has merit. I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't have the episode in the back of my head. I did address that on there on my past podcast way like last year, I would say, or 6 months to a year. I do apologize for that. This is why I always got to observe, think, and I see, the whole transgender bathroom sister situation, even in Charlotte, North Carolina. Bruce speaks, oh, yeah, I'll boycott Charlotte, North Carolina. Born to be an Uncle Tom. Yeah, I tell you how much I love I had that for that man. Who cares? You have celebrities going to tell me what to do, please. And this is what people got to look at. Always have to be one of those individuals. Both deserve to get the VIP pass. Don't give a damn who you are. So that's what's been happening. Threaten federal funding if you don't support this program. I just say this. You could take this federal funding and stick it up your rear end. And the fact is this, the states have to will send the money to Washington. Hell, so you see the bigger picture, my friends? So I don't know what drone man, teleprompter reading, lame duck, bend over Bob Bears, I have to say about that. Who cares? Or Loretta Lynch. Like Dumb and Dumber. Very good examples. That's how I gotta look at it. End of story. Property rights has to be honored. If you don't like it, go live under a cave, under a rock. However, like I tell folks, I do support of a right of an individual. No ends, ifs, or buts. All right. Next one here came out yesterday by Matthew Cole. And I know a lot of people at Intercept probably check this out about Chris Kyle. American sniper Chris Kyle distorted his military record document shows. As it reads here, no American has been more associated with the Navy SEAL mystique. And Chris Kyle, known as his deadliest sniper in U.S. military history, his best-selling autobiography, American Sniper, Story of Honor, Glory, and Quiet Heroism, has sold more than 1 million copies. The movie adaptation became the highest-grossing war film in American history. All told, Kyle wrote in his book, I would end my career as a SEAL with 2 silver stars and 5 bronze stars for all for valor. While Kyle, who was murdered by fellow military veterans several years after leaving the Navy, embellished his military record. According to internal Navy documents obtained by the Intercept, during his 10 years of military service and 4 deployments, Kyle earned 1 silver star and 3 bronze stars with valor, a record confirmed by Navy officials. Kyle was warned at least once before American Sniper was published. His description of his medal count was wrong, according to one current Navy officer who asked not to be identified because he was not authorized to speak about the case. As Kyle, American Sniper's manuscript was distributed among SEALs, one of his former commanders who was still on active duty advised Kyle that his claim of having 2 silver stars was false and he should correct it before his book was published. Current and former Navy SEALs interviewed for this article who agreed to speak on background because they feared being shunned by their close-knit community. Did not dispute Kyle's heroism in combat, but saw the inflation of his medal count as significant because they considered battlefield embellishments to be dishonorable. The Silver Star, the third highest award given for battlefield conduct, is considered a prestigious commendation. Discrepancy raises new questions about Kyle's credibility and highlights a continuing controversy and the SEAL community over members exaggerating and distorting their war record. In one high-profile controversy, 2 members of the SEAL Team 6 engaged in public dispute over who deserved credit for the fatal shots that killed Osama bin Laden. Within the military community, embellishing medals and achievements, so-called stolen valor, is considered a serious ethical violation. In 1996, Admiral Jeremy Baroda, who was then the highest-ranking uniformed naval officer, committed suicide after questions were raised about two valopins, known as devices, he wore on his uniform for service during the Vietnam War. It, it was later determined that he was not authorized to wear the V devices. Interesting. According to two current Navy officials, inaccurate information about Kyle's awards is also contained in his separation document known in the military as DD-24, 214, excuse me, which usually reflects a veteran's official service record. Kyle's DD 2014 form, which lists 2 Silver Stars and 6 Bronze Stars of Valor among his decorations, also differs from numbers of Bronze Stars of Valor 5 that Kyle listed in his book. The Navy provided records for 1 Silver Star and 3 Bronze Stars with Valor after the Intercept requested all documentation related to Kyle's medals. The Navy Department's award system maintains records of the official awards. Navy officials could not say why Kyle's separation papers contain inaccurate information about his medals, but one official described as Kyle as a decorated war hero and questioned the motivations of looking into Kyle's account. The Navy considered the individual service members, officials, military personnel, and our central official awards records to the authoritative sources for verifying entitlement to decorations and awards, said Colin James, a spokesperson for the Navy. Personnel command in a statement emailed to the Interceptor, Form DD-214 is generally located as a command where the service member is separated. Although the information of the DD-214 should match the official records, the process involves people, and invariably some errors may occur. Normally, the personnel clerk handling a failure separation is required to ensure that the awards match the service member's official personnel file. It is unclear that was done in the case of Kyle's DD-214. Given Kyle's celebrity, you'd think the Navy would have gone back and fixed the discrepancy, said one Navy official who was not authorized to speak on the record. But he only got 3 bronze and 1 Silver Star. Kyle separated from the Navy in 2009 after 11 years as a SEAL. Almost 11 years as a SEAL. In 2013, he was murdered in Texas by a fellow veteran struggling with mental health problems. A public memorial service for Kyle held at Cowboy Stadium near Dallas drew nearly 7,000 people. Since the publication of American Sniper, Kyle's exploits in Iraq during the height of the war have taken almost mythic proportions, and many of his fellow soldiers regard his actions during his four deployment, excuse me here, 4 deployments in Iraq as heroic. During the 2004 American siege of Fallujah, for example, Kyle saved an injured Marine's life by dragging him into safety while taking and returning fire down an alleyway. Kyle also wrote in his book that he had 160 confirmed kills as a sniper. Service members in battle largely self-reported in the number of enemy combatants they killed. SEALs are silent warriors, and I am a SEAL down to my soul. Kyle wrote in an American Sniper. If you want to check me out, ask a SEAL. Two members of the SEAL community said that while Kyle's actions under fire were commendable, he tarnished his accomplishments through misrepresentation. It takes away from the legitimate heroism he showed. And a retired SEAL who was deployed to Iraq when Kyle was also deployed there. In 2004, resulted in the Bronze Star with Valor, one of 3 that Kyle was rewarded. That action was recommended by his commanding officers for a Silver Star, but was denied by the Secretary of the Navy at the time. Kyle was aware that the Silver Star was denied, according to his autobiography, and did not count it among 2 Silver Stars he claimed to receive. He did not say in the book what either of those Silver Stars were for. Retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Robert Bateman, a military historian, said that public reports of stolen valor before common in the decades after the Vietnam War. Bateman also said it was indisputable that Kyle or any other veteran would inflate his record, even if the veteran like Kyle has demonstrated clear heroism during his service. R- Resume inflation may be less of a scandal for civilians, Bateman said, but for those in the military, some elements are paid in blood. A retired Naval SEAL officer said Kyle's commanding officers were aware that he had misrepresented how many decorations he had collected. The retired officer attended the ceremony for Kyle's single Silver Star, which was rewarded to him for a 2006 deployment in Ramadi, Iraq. During the 32 sniper Overwatch missions, the citation reads, he personally accounted for 91 confirmed enemy fighter kills. When asked if he had been aware of Kyle's inaccuracy accounting his awards, Jocko Willink, one of Kyle's former commanding officers, said, Chris Kyle, like many of the SEAL soldiers and Marines I had the honor to serve with, deserve much more than whether ribbons and medals they received. Another former commanding officer, Leif Babin, declined to comment. Willink and Babin co-authored a book, Extreme Ownership, which details their time commanding SEALs in Iraq. It included a section of Kyle's prowess as a sniper, but does not tally his medals. This is not the first time that Kyle had been accused of misrepresentation. In 2014, just over a year after Kyle's death, a Minnesota jury found that he lied in American Sniper and defamed former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura, claiming to have punched Ventura out at a bar in Coronado, California. The jury awarded Ventura, who served in a precursor unit to the Navy SEALs during the Vietnam War, $1.8 million in damages and ordered Kyle's widow, Taya Kyle, to pay. Taya Kyle is appealing the ruling. When contacted by The Intercept, Taya Kyle, though a representative, declined to comment about her husband's service record. The former SEAL officer who attended Kyle's Silver Star ceremony said it was a poorly kept secret in the Naval Special Operations community that Kyle embellished his record. The SEAL leadership was aware of the embellishment but didn't want to correct the record because Kyle's celebrity status reflected well on the command. Everybody went on the pilgrimage to his funeral at Cowboy Stadium, the ex-SEAL said, knowing full well his claims weren't true. So it's very interesting here. In the correction, an earlier version of the story incorrectly referred to Chris Kyle as the deadliest sniper in military history. He is known as the deadliest sniper in U.S. military history. Well, it's like this, my friends. Sometimes certain things you don't say or brag about. And accuracy has to be essential. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're gonna make up stories or assume, it's gonna hurt you, even when you're gone. I've never seen the movie American Sniper, nor read the book, because I heard some controversies before that is not accurate. So I don't really jump on these. I mean, nothing against Clint Eastwood. He probably did a good job in directing. He did some decent movies. I'm not gonna say anything bad about him. But like I said, you gotta make sure everything is thoroughly accurate, and meritable. And based on this lawsuit, and even the report that Intercept got, records, is considered to be null and void based on those cases. Wow. That's one thing that I have to say, my friend, is just really a shame. But you got good people in these areas, and you got someone trying to flaunt it, allegedly. So, no, the truth of the matter is, to all my brothers and sisters out there, be fair, honest, and accurate as possible. whatever you do. Now I am going to proceed here, which came from Press TV. I actually got this from David again. It says here, Holland rejects Israeli ban on boycott. Netherlands has rejected calls by Israel to declare illegal a growing international campaign that calls for the boycott of Israeli products. Foreign Minister Bert Koenders says on Thursday the Dutch government has explained to Tel Aviv that the people joining the campaign was issue of free speech to which the Dutch people are entitled. Netherlands is the second country in Europe, in the European Union, to have announced its support for people's right to join the boycott, divestment, and sanctions or BDS campaign against Israel. Statements or meetings considering BDS are protected by freedom of expression and freedom of assembly as enshrined in the Dutch Constitution and the European Convention on Human Rights, Koenders said. Dutch ambassador to Israel Giles Beschoor Plug defended Koenders' remarks, saying that joining the campaign in Holland is not illegal, therefore it falls within the limits of freedom. As long as that one says it's not illegal, you're free to say it, he added. Israeli Foreign Ministry spokesman Emmanuel Nachmanson denounced the decision, saying there had to be limits on the concept of freedom of speech. Up yours, buddy. You're such a chump. Boy, you think we should all kiss the floor you walk on? Forget about it, you pathetic stooge. Israel has been pressuring the U.S. and European countries to introduce legislation that take other repressive measures to confront the BDS movement. In February, Britain introduced new rules banning local authorities and public sector organizations from boycotting Israel and pledging severe penalties for violators. The banking behemoth Credit Mutuel also shut down the account of La Campagne BDS France at the request of the Representative Council of French Jewish Institutions last week. Sweden, however, supports the right to join the BDS in March 2016, saying the movement is a civil society movement and that government should not interfere in the civil society organization views. Earlier this month, more than 300 groups in Europe urged the EU to hold Israel accountable for its human rights violations and join the global campaign for boycott of Israeli products. 352 signatories to a letter, including human rights and aid organizations, church groups, trade unions, and political parties from across the continent, including France, Germany, Norway, and Belgium. The BDS movement is currently asking people to add their names to an appeal with a UN High Commissioner for Human Rights to take necessary measures to protect those who campaign for Palestinian rights. The BDS movement was initiated in 2005 by over 170 Palestinian organizations that were pushing for various forms of boycott against Israel until it meets its obligations under international law. Thousands of volunteers worldwide have joined the BDS ever since to help promote the Palestinian cause. Hey, I say it this way: free speech and freedom of assembly is righteous. It doesn't matter if it's popular or not. What gets me? You got to tell people. You got to tell me what to do. Well, you shouldn't be doing that. We're gonna make laws over here. I'm not saying. I'm not gonna say piss on you. Okay, plain and simple. Piss on you. Have some governmental stooge from another country tell me when to clean my butt. Give me a break. And here's the thing. To all those people going to try to support this, you're going to tell me or anyone else we can't say these things? You're looking for a war. You're looking for a fight, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't give a damn who you are. We don't kiss the floor you walk on. You're nothing, as far as I'm concerned. Nothing against the Israeli people themselves. But you got government trying to tell others what to do, when to what clean their butts. That's a form of political imperialism. Everyone out there has the right to have their own views, like it or not. I'm not creating some of these countries how they do things, but you know what? They talk about, hey, free speech and freedom of assembly. Yeah, man, thumbs up. That's what I support natural born rights, not civil. Make a law that violates that, I'm gonna take a dump on it, deprecate those referendums documents. And I say that symbolically. Freedom of choice, my friends, is what you got. I think the people of Israel need to call out their government more thoroughly, which is happening, which they don't really want you to know. They are protesting against the government for what's going on with the Palestinians. People in Israel don't want to fight. They're tired of it. A lot of them hate the New World Order as well. So that's why people got to look at this a lot broader than what it is. So if they don't like it, too bad. That's how I see it, my friends. Free speech. If the students from if the government from Israel don't like it, piss on them. Null and void. Continue on here. Here is really interesting. It came out a few days ago from the Important News by Michael Snyder. Why are Americans getting married an average of 7 years later than they did in 1950s? Americans are getting married later in life these days. So precisely why is this happening? As you will see below, the average age of men when men and women first get married in the United States getting perilously close to 30, but in the middle of the last century was close to 20. This has been a dramatic cultural shift, and this has resulted in a whole host of unintended consequences. Because even though people are getting married later, they're still engaging in behaviors that in the previous generation were considered reserved for those that had made a permanent commitment. The family has always had been one of the foundational society institutions in society. But how is it breaking down at a very alarming pace? Our young people have been trained to think that getting married, having children, and raising a family are not important priorities. This is showing up in a myriad of various ways. In America today, the average woman is getting married 7.0 years later than she did in 1956. The average man is getting married 6.7 years later than he did back then. The following comes from CNN and NBC. The typical U.S. woman now marries at 27.1 years old. The typical man, 29.2, according to the census data. That's from record low from 20.1 for women, 22.5 for men in 1956. They are concentrating more on school careers, and work less and less focus on forming new families, spouses, or partners and children, said Richard Fry, lead author of the report and senior economist at the Pew Research Center. Fry said of the millennials. At one time, a woman is considered to be an old maid if she had not married by the age of 25. But in this day and age, this about the time that many women are just getting stated seriously looking for a mate. One of the big reasons why men and women are both delaying marriage so much these days is because our young people are constantly being inundated with messages that tells them that it is more fun to be single. If you aren't doing so already, start paying attention to how marriage and parenthood are being portrayed to young adults on television and in the movies. In most cases, getting married at a young age is portrayed as being a mistake. And having children is often depicted as a good way to ruin your future. And of course, a lifestyle that involves sexual promiscuity is almost always portrayed as the more desirable than a lifetime commitment to a single person. Just watching a TV show or movie that is targeted to young males in particular. Being able to score often as with many women as possible is what they are told they should do, and very rarely they encourage to value marriage and fatherhood. This dramatic cultural shift we have seen over the past several decades is having some serious unintended consequences. For one thing, an increasing number of our young people are choosing to never leave the nest. In fact, the percentage of our young adults that are living at home now exceeds the percentage of our young adults that are married or living with a partner. Nearly a third of millennials lived with their parents, slightly more than a share of their age group who live with a spouse or partner. For this age group, that researchers said this is the first time that living at home has overtaken living with a spouse since the U.S. Census keeping track in 1880. As nearly 2000, nearly 40% of young adults from age 1834 are married or live with a partner. By 2014, the proportions was just 31.6%. In 2000, only 23% of young adults were living with parents. In 2014, the figure reached 32.1. Another unintended consequence has been a huge rise in the number of unmarried women giving birth to children. When the average age of first marriage was at a record low in 1956, about 5% of all the babies in America were born to unmarried parents. Today, more than 40% of all babies in America are born to unmarried parents. In addition, just because young adults are not getting married does not mean they are not looking for outlets for their sexual desires. Of course, lots and lots of people are sleeping around, but others are seeking alternative ways to fill what is missing in their lives. Right now, there are more than 4 million adult websites on the internet. They get more traffic than Netflix, Amazon, and Twitter combined. This plague has become so widespread that estimated that even 68% of all Christian men watch pornography on a regular basis. We clearly we have a major problem. I haven't even mentioned the millions of abortions and millions of STD cases that have resulted from the sexual revolution that we witnessed. As an institution of the family has broken down, we have become lonelier, more isolated, less healthy, and more prone to addictive behavior as a society. Could it be possible that previous generations of Americans actually knew what they were doing? Could it be possible that it would be a good thing to teach our young people the value of marriage and family? Could it be possible that we are actually designed to get married and have children at a relatively younger age? What are we doing right now is definitely not working. We have one of the highest divorce rates on the entire planet. The CDC says that about 20 million new STD cases each calendar year. We have tens of millions of men that are addicted to pornography, and somewhere around a third of our children in the United States are currently being raised in a home without a father. So there's a solution to this mess. If so, what would you like? You can feel free. You can post this stuff below. It is a shame, and I could say I'm a victim of this as well, and boldly admit it. Sometimes you get wound up in so many things. You try to find out what you want and who you're looking for. Happens. One thing I never like is people try to tell me who to see, who to lay, or try to force me or persuade me to date somebody. Happened to me one time, and it's very disturbing. The person wasn't even my type. Not because how she looks or her weight or anything like that. It's just her actions. And the biggest mistake this person made, she went to my mother about it. I did not like that at all. Did it. I was real young when it happened, and it was very disheartening. And what you see in society right now, a lot of these divorce lawyers are manifesting. Take the money and run. Violate the mother and father's rights. Sometimes you got parents that try to use their children as shields. It happened to my brother, older brother. Know firsthand. As far as I'm concerned, his first ex-wife is my enemy for life, and have a lot of contempt for this wench. She hears this, who cares? Don't bother me one bit. Deep down inside, she knows I'm right. Material things, people are focusing more on that. Love and honor, that needs to be brought back. Anytime I'm saying, even myself, just being around people with materialism, and even I could tell you a good little story, a brief story, and I'm not 100% innocent either, and I will boldly admit that. During the time when I was living in Kendall, or Kendall Lakes, or Kendall Green now, always never really dated any ladies in my high school, junior high school, because the whole cocaine cowboy era. I didn't want to get succumb to that environment. I see a lot of these kids with brand new cars, brand new vehicles, and I said that twice, sorry. Brand new clothes, thought they're better than everybody else, and their family members are involved in organized crime. I always had that safeguarding nature in me. But the whole thing is, everyone, this whole mind control aspect is really hurting the family structure, the governmental brainwashing, manipulation. You need to go back to basics. We all have purposes in life, my friends. We should never conscript that. I wouldn't mind being a father, having kids. Don't bother one bit, but myself, I never always like to find the right individual. Too many obstacles. That's what's happening. Look what's happening right now. When people get married, I never say it was a mistake. I always want them to do well. Even my brothers, I wasn't too enthused with this first marriage because I see things a lot broader, have this interesting foresight. But we do need to go back to that structure of love and family and so forth. And hopefully, I may be a late bloomer, but you never know. Find someone that's interesting and got things in common, which is mind blowing. I laugh about it too. There's nothing wrong with being independent, self-efficient, self-contained, but you want to gotta get rid of the whole economic structure to the Keynesian economics. People, families working on two incomes because they're using fiat money. That's what's killing us too. And of course, doing things together. That's the thing. So, Snyder's dead on this. I gotta give him a lot of credit. I always enjoy reading his stuff and listening to his interviews. And him and I Facebook pen pals too. So, thanks, Mike. May take a period of time, but you never know, my friend. Tide's turning, right? All right, my friends. Got one more here. Came out a few days ago. It says here, Albuquerque, New Mexico will not be adding to fluoride to water supply. It's by Derek Groves. It says here, Albuquerque, New Mexico will continue to maintain fluoride-free water supply after local water authority voted to remove funding for water fluoridation for the fiscal year 2017. On Wednesday, May 18th, the Albuquerque Bernalillo County Water Unity Authority voted to remove proposed funding for water fluoridation from the utility's 2017 budget. The Water Utility Authority has originally recommended spending $250,000 to add extra fluoride into water supply to help the county reach federally recommended levels of fluoride. Have you heard of the 10th Amendment? Bernalillo County's supply is at zero point zero 0.03 parts per million, while the federal government recommends zero point 0.7 parts per million. Please. Only weeks ago, Hart Stabbins, a Bernalillo County commissioner, introduced a measure that would have required the water authority to add fluoride to water supply to a level of 0.00 parts per million. However, on May 18th, the board opted not to vote on the measure, effectively ending the bid for water fluoridation. Very good. Adding supplemental fluoride to the drinking water supply is one way to help ensure that the community's oral health is improved. David Morris with the Water Authority said days before the board ultimately decided not to take up the resolution. Albuquerque became the largest city not to add fluoride to the water supply in 2011 when the Water Authority said they would wait until the federal guidelines were updated in 2015. The decision ended a 39-year practice of water fluoridation for the Bernalillo County. Although fluoridation will not return to the county, the Albuquerque Journal reports the board did not approve a measure which asked the New Mexico congressional delegation to request expedited action on the final recommendations. Supporters of the water fluoridation were dismayed by the non-vote and called for the board to vote on the issue once new guidelines are issued. The disappointing thing is that they have the science in front of them, said Dr. Don Romero. An Albuquerque dentist is not totally over yet. It allows more time for the education of policymakers. So, does the science say about the water fluoridation and what the heck is fluoride, and the substance added to municipal water supplies known by the name fluoride are actually a combination of unpurified byproducts of phosphate minings, namely hydrofluoric acid, sodium fluorescate, and sodium fluoride. In the United States, thousands of tons of fluoric acid is recovered from phosphoric acid plants and used for water fluoridation. During this process, the fluoride ion is created. This process is taking a waste from the phosphate industry and putting it into the drinking water has been long criticized for its effect on human health, that of the environment. It is well known that the water fluoridation has led to dental fluorosis for millions of children, the discoloring of the teeth that cause cosmetically objectionable by the Center for Disease Control. Beyond the cosmetic effect, there have been a number of studies indicating health issues ranging from arthritis, brain problems, reduced thyroid or overactive thyroid, kidney problems, and bone cancers. While proponents of the water fluoridation have been long pointed to an apparent drop in tooth decay in fluoridated nations as proof of its validity, those claims have been proven wrong by the World Health Organization. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention has stated the fluoride in the water is directly related to better teeth quality. However, the WHO released its own study showing that tooth decay rates have dropped in all Western nations, whether fluoridated or not. In 2015, Truth in Media reported that the Cochrane Collaboration, a global independent network of researchers, professionals, and patients, reviewed most comprehensive, well-designed, and reliable papers on fluoride before analyzing publishing their conclusion, according to Newsweek. The review identified only 3 studies since 1975 of sufficient quality to be included that addressed the effectiveness of fluoridation in the population at large. These papers determined that fluoridation does not reduce cavities to a statistically significant degree, says study co-author Anne Marie Glennie, a health science researcher at Manchester University in the United Kingdom. The scientists have also found insufficient evidence that fluoridation reduces tooth decay in adults, children excluded. From the review, we're unable to determine whether the fluoridation has an impact on caries levels in adults, Glennie said. Trevin Sheldon, dean of the Hull York Medical School in the United Kingdom, conducted a review of oral fluoridation in 2000. Sheldon concluded that the process is not effective. I had assumed because of everything I heard that water fluoridation reduces cavities, but I was completely amazed by the lack of evidence, he told Newsweek. My prior view was completely reversed. Sheldon points out that some studies have actually shown that when water fluoridation was seized, cavities went down a small percentage among school children. This includes a 2001 study of 2 British Columbia communities that was included in the Cochrane review. The Cochrane team also found that most studies confirming the effectiveness of fluoridation were completed prior to widespread use of dental products such as mouth rinses and toothpaste. The study did find evidence that fluoridation was linked to 26% decrease in cavities. However, this study was also done before the growth of modern dentistry. Researchers write, we have limited confidence in the size of this effect due to the risk of bias within the studies and the lack of contemporary evidence. In early June 2015, the research board also released an in-depth review of the effects of water fluoridation. The review was conducted by the behest of the U.S. Department of Health. After examining all internationally peer-reviewed papers on the topic and fluoride health effects from 2006 to 2014, the HRB found no definite evidence that community fluoridation is associated with positive and negative systematic health effects. In February 2015, Antimedia reported on a study published in the BMJ's Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health which confirmed fluoride's negative effect on the thyroid gland and a possible connection to depression, weight gain, and other negative health effects. Researchers in the University of Kent in England examined thyroid activity for those in areas with fluoridated water and those without. The team examined 95% of the English population in 2002 and 2013 and found higher rates of underactive thyroid were 30% more likely in areas with high fluoride concentration, and underactive thyroid can lead to depression, weight gain, fatigue, and aching muscles. While the studies confirm previous studies that showed fluoride interferes with the production of iodine for the thyroid, some experts believe that the study is not conclusive. Professor David Kogan, professor of occupational environmental medicine, University of Southampton, believed the observations could have been caused by some other variable. It is quite possible that the observed association is a consequence of the other day in which areas with higher fluoride differ from the rest of the country, he told the Telegraph. There are substantially more rigorous epi- epidemiological methods, little tongue twist there, methods by which the research team could have tested their idea. Beyond the health effects themselves, there seems to be a growing conflict of interest between American health agencies and the publicly available data on dangers associated with fluoride. In 2014, the Truth in Media reported over 2,000 pages of emails released under the Freedom of Information Act request have uncovered an apparent conflict of interest between the Center for Disease Control and Prevention and the American Dental Association regarding water fluoridation. Emails also contain an admission by the CDC that those kidney issues will likely be adversely affected by the substance. From September 5th to September 8th, the Fluoride Action Network held the fifth Citizens Conference on Fluoride in Washington, D.C. At a conference, Dan Stockton, MPH, released the emails and declared that these documents make it abundantly clear the ADA and CDC oral health divisions are the Tweedledum and Tweedledee of fluoridation promotion. Ho, ho, ho. They work hand in hand off the taxpayers' expense to spin a new message in favor of fluoridation. Oh, man, that's a low blow, but it has merit. 2,500 pages contain emails from 2011 between employees at the Oral Health Division of the CDC and the only division at the CDC deals with fluoridation, and the ADA, as well as communications from the Department of Health and Human Services. The Nadell law firm's help in an effort to get the emails released. A statement from Nadell states these documents raise questions about the objectivity of individuals within these agencies, indicate a need to get the true motivation behind the lack of objectivity in these organizations. The reason for opposing water fluoridation include a fear of a variety of health concerns that believe that it's forced medicating the population without their approval, financial waste, and environmental concerns related to phosphate mines, where the chemical is found. What are your thoughts? Should the American people have a choice whether or not to pay for water fluoridation? Do you believe the process is safe or should be continued? Well, let's say get rid of the damn thing. And I'm glad Albuquerque, New Mexico is doing something about it, getting that out of the bracket, but it's not done yet. The people in that city need to be vigilant. It's been proven time and time again that fluoridation of the water is poisonous. It has been proven in the past, even with the Russians and the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany use it on people that were in prison. Use the fluoridation in the water, dumb them down, make them feel more passive. So and something like that affects the brain and the body. So there's a lot of scientific fact on that. And we're tired of these governmental bureaucrats telling us what to think. We got to think for ourselves. There's a lot of ways to fight tooth decay. There's a lot of natural foods you can have out there. So it's time to start learning, my friends. I'm doing it. I'm 47 years old. I'm still learning this stuff. And I've been a victim of tooth decay. I got pretty bad teeth myself. I'm trying to get that fixed, hopefully soon. However, we got to be vigilant on what we consume and what's going to be on our water, because it's all water, not theirs. So Derek Bro did a good job on this. I think it's fantastic. People are fighting back. I know the city of Margate down in Florida, they got rid of fluoridation in their water too. So things are happening. Gotta stay put. Be vigilant. Don't just do the United States, but the world, my friends. Okay, fight against fluoride in the water supply. And that is it, my friends. Thanks for everyone for listening to this episode. But feel free to download and share this episode and many others throughout your social media network. If you have any questions, comments, love letters, hate letters, compliments or criticism, or you're going to send me something that's pretty interesting that I haven't touched on yet, please do so. However, I like to have all your comments, correspondences with decorum. Hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedoms Network, and Scene.life. Or you can email me at LookieLuck3. That's the number 3 is all together at gmail.com. Before I go, I want to play. I know I've been playing a lot of bands like unsigned, Florida related, which is pretty cool. However, I'm going to do this one band. It's a band from California called Ankla. And I recall a guitar player, Raymond Ortiz, who came from Puerto Rico, lived in South Florida for a good period of time. Had his band Whisker Biscuit. Then it changed to Puya, created a big buzz in South Florida. Did some tours. Had 2 albums out, and I know MCA dropped them, which is very disappointing. However, he moved on, and he did the Ankla. He did a couple albums with them. I've seen them twice, and they're a real great band. And I know, if I recall, he's doing more musical projects. So type in Ramon Ortiz to check out what he has. I know he has like an instrumental album too, which is really good. You can download it and all that. Pay to download it. So support this guy. Support all these great musicians that are out there providing good music, not just top 40 radio crap. What Billboard magazine wants to cater you guys to. All right. And that is all. And once again, I thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demonic resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you. Sit down.